Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. So today is very important. I want to discuss something with us today, and I want us to look into something that I consider very sensitive. It's called predictive programming. It's a mind control technique that so many people are not conversant with, but you actually get to be a part of it every day of your life, yet you don't know what it is. And we're going to start by defining predictive programming, okay? And here is how Alan Watt described or defined predictive programming. It says, predictive programming is the theory that ideas, situations, and new technologies are carefully written into movies, TV shows, and books to groom the general population into accepting societal changes. Things or ideas which would otherwise be seen as bizarre, vulgar, undesirable, or impossible are inserted into films in the realm of fantasy. When the viewer watches these films, his or her mind is left open to suggestion and the conditioning process begins. Now, Hollywood is the magician's wand, holy, which has been used to cast a spell on the unsuspecting public. That is how Alan Watt put it. And so when you hear the name Hollywood, I wonder what comes to your mind. Holly is a magical tree that is used back in the days by the druids, to cast spells on people. And here's how it is written on Wiki. It says, while other plants wilted in winter weather, holly remained green and strong. Its berries are brightly colored red in the harshest of conditions. The druids regarded holly as a symbol of fertility and eternal life, thought to have magical powers. In druid lore, cutting down a holly tree would bring bad luck. And so holly is actually an ancient magical tree that was used to cast spell on people. And so this is the ancient origin of the name Hollywood. And that's why Hollywood has become like a magician's wand with which spells are cast on the general population, with which predictive programming is dished out in our world. Just Google Hollywood tree meaning and you'll see it. Hollywood derived its name from an ancient magical tree. That's why it's today the epicenter of audiovisual magic, disillusionment, and mass mind control. That's why nearly every aspect of predictive programming that has been unleashed in our world had actually gone through Hollywood today. Predictive programming is a process by which certain things that we deem bizarre and intolerable or unacceptable to the society are squeezed into movies, into comic books, into music, into all kinds of entertaining platforms, so that when you consume those things, when you see them in those platforms, your mind, your brain begins to condition subconsciously. You begin to indirectly accept those things, so that when they eventually show up in our lives, in the society, or maybe introduced by the government, you can easily accept them. For instance, before it was cute for women to dress naked almost like open up everything and bear it all out on the street. They showed you that in the movies. For many years, you were accepting all of that. And then all of a sudden, now we see people dressing almost naked. You see people now in the media, on Instagram, showing up everything. It's okay now to be naked completely. Before, it was cute to take up the gun and shoot somebody on the street and, be proud about it. You had seen it in so many movies, so many music videos. Before, it was okay for you to smoke weed or to snort cocaine out there. You had seen all of that until it became accepted subconsciously in your mind. And then when it became a mainstream thing in our world, everybody just simply accepts it. So predictive programming is used strongly by the Illuminati. something that is so bizarre that you can't even think or imagine, they will squeeze it into movies. That's what Hollywood is there for. It's like a spell that is cast on your mind. And you know, because there are two ways you perceive, there are two perceptive mediums that you have. You have the conscious and the unconscious. So the conscious perception that you have is that you're just watching something going on, and your normal consciousness, you know, your conscious self is seeing it and taking it and, you know, making sense of it. But there is a subconscious part of you that is taking in things that your own conscious self cannot see. So this eye that you have rules the conscious, the real conscious you now, but the inner eyes are in charge of the things that these eyes cannot see. That's why when they quote things that appear very briefly in movies or in videos or on TV, your physical eyes didn't catch it, but your inner eyes caught all of that and stored it in. And the way the inner eyes or your subconscious mind picks up information is that when it takes information, it slows it down. It tries to understand it, internalize it, and it prints it in your soul. It becomes a part of you. That's what predictive programming is. So you are being programmed like a computer to accept this thing in the future when it happens. That's why when they wanted to do 9/11, which I'm going to show you right now, a lot of predictive programming happened with 9/11 before 9/11 eventually happened. And so whatever they told you was the cause of 9/11, everybody accepted that because they had already been telling you that lie through movies and music and books and all other media before it eventually happened. Predictive programming. I am going to bring down all the churches in the world in 2030, and they start from 2005 to program you that bringing churches down and killing all the people inside is okay. They will put it in the form of a movie so you don't blame anybody for it. And by 2030, it happens, and you go like, well, it's just one of those things. Predictive programming. Predictive programming is a wake-up call to every person alive who thinks that events of global impact or magnitude are mere coincidences. No, they're not. Everything is planned ahead of time. Did you see how many times humanity was programmed to accept 9/11? There are more than 61 to maybe 70 videos and references of predictive programming that happened with respect to 9/11, right? And I'm going to show you just a few of them so you can see how that humanity was programmed to accept 9/11, or rather to accept the narrative of the government when 9/11 eventually happens. 9/11 was not something that just happened like an accident. They started programming people for it since the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
1949, Porky Pig and Charlie Dog cartoon.
Look! What's that? Look! It's the towers! They're falling!
1970, 30 Seconds Over New York, book by Robert Bacard. 1976, 9/11, a book by Thomas Chastain. 1976, Sesame Street magazine cover. 1978, Dr. John, City Lights album cover. 1979, Meteor movie poster. 1989, WWF.
Twin Towers, take it, Mean Gene.
With me at this time, the Slickster, Akeem, the African Dream, and a big boss man. Gentlemen, is this the match you wanted all along, or are you going to continue your terrorist attacks on the Mega Powers and the defenseless Elizabeth? What do you want? All right, thank you, Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, the lovely Elizabeth. Three people working as one with one goal in mind: to defeat or should I say demolish the Twin Towers.
Ooh, yeah.
Hulk Hogan, you talked about the Triangle of Love. Jesse Ventura says there's a problem. Explain.
Well, you know, Mean Gene, you get right to the heart of the matter with that question, brother. It's the love, man, that's gonna supercharge the mega powers and tear down the Twin Towers.
Yeah. Yes, man. What were your thoughts then?
Oh, yeah, Mean Gene, I can still feel the pain when that cold steel bit into Miss Elizabeth's wrist right there. And when her muscles were torn, my muscles were torn. When her bone was bruised right there, I felt the pain. Hulk Hogan felt the pain, and I can still feel the pain right now. And Hulk Hogan, that pain won't stop until the Twin Towers come crumbling down. Oh, yeah, right now, tonight, on prime time, yeah.
1991, Terminator 2. (1991) Spider-Man comic. 1991 Tetra Star video game. 1993 Super Mario Bros. The movie. 1994 Iron Man cartoon, Season 1, Episode 5.
Unidentified warplane sighted heading for New York City.
Our detection system shows nothing. Mayday! Mayday! New York is under attack! Intercept and destroy!
A force field is shielding the warplane. It's getting through.
It's time. We will now strike at the heart of American defense and destroy the Pentagon with one swift and deadly blow.
1994 Fantastic Four, Season 1, Episode 4. 1994 Viceland magazine article. 1995 Illuminati card game. 1996 The Long Kiss Goodnight.
1993, World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed the CIA had advanced knowledge. The diplomat who issued the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for the bombing, purely to justify a budget increase.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to scare some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I've no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on the Muslims, naturally. Then I get my funding. Good night, old girl.
1997 The Simpsons, Season 9, Episode 1.
Oh, I'd love to see New York. We could all go with the bus company's special Super Sitter fare. $9.
1998 Armageddon.
Well, you know why? Because this is New York City. Anything could have happened. Listen to that. Let me see. It could have been a terrorist, bomb, could have been a dead body, somebody shot, stabbed. And it's Friday payday, too. Somebody probably jumped, didn't get that paycheck.
1999 Batman Beyond, Season 2, Episode 12.
Vibration, it's gonna knock down the towers.
The towers are falling. Get away from there.
No use pleading. You're dead.
(1999) Fight Club. 1999, The Matrix. (2001) June, just months before the events took place. The Coupe Party Music album cover.
So as you can see, you were programmed to accept 9/11 many years before it happened. Ebola virus, people were programmed to accept it before it broke. Almost every major event in our world that has a global impact, we always get programmed to accept them many years before they eventually happen. And that brings us now to the latest global event that we have been dealing with lately. Like everybody knows about it. COVID-19. Coronavirus disease. 2019. With what I have explained to you, do you actually really think now that we were not programmed for coronavirus? Something of this scale, global scale? No, we were programmed. That's why it became so difficult for some of us to even convince our fellow countrymen that this thing is not what you think it is. So I have to put it to you today that we were actually predictively programmed to accept the narrative coming from the World Health Organization about COVID-19. I don't want to go into so many other events because the situation is the same for all, but let's zoom into the topic at hand, which is COVID-19 predictive programming. As many of you know, COVID-19 is again an event that has a global impact, right? And so when things like this happen in our world that have huge, massive global impact, they are not just by accident. These things have been in plan for so many years. They program you for it for so many years. And we are going to look at how we have been programmed to accept COVID-19 or to accept the government narrative on COVID-19 way before COVID-19 actually happened. So now there are a bunch of COVID-19 predictive programming videos out there. For example, you have Contagion, you have the Omega Man, you have World War Z, you have Pandemic, you have My Secretariats, and a lot of the other ones. All these movies were done prior to 2019, when the so-called coronavirus eventually broke. And these movies put out vivid descriptions, vivid, clear situations that we are dealing with today regarding coronavirus were played into movies. The narratives that we are hearing today from CNN was played into movies. Like I've showed in one of my videos, you find out even the medical correspondent of CNN, Sanjay Gupta, played the same role in the movie Contagion that he is playing now in real life over coronavirus disease. Predictive programming. The same words, the same language, the same everything. You saw them in the movies, you're seeing them in real life. But it wasn't only movies and music and comic books and all these things that they used to program us for coronavirus. They equally used a very, very powerful global event to program you and I to accept coronavirus. I don't know any person alive who is probably 20 years or even less who did not see the London Olympics 2012. Opening ceremony of 2012 London Olympics contained one of the most vivid and the most telling predictive programming situations you ever came across regarding the COVID-19 thing. Nothing in the movies or music videos or anything could compare to it. And I will prove it to you right now. 2012, London Olympics opening ceremony. So it begins with the Queen, then the British flag, and the aerial view of the arena revealing an outline resembling the coronavirus disease. Right there in your face. You don't think it's clear enough? Okay, let's proceed. It starts with a writing that says, second to the right and straight on till morning. This is a quote straight out of a novel called Peter and Wendy by Scottish writer J.M. Barrie. Now, I'll tell you a little story about this book. So in 1902, J.M. Barrie wrote a book called The Little White Bird. In The Little White Bird, there's a chapter entitled Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens. This is a Peter Pan's first appearance into our literary consciousness. So Peter Pan is a mischievous little boy who can fly, and he has many adventures on the island of Neverland that is inhabited by mermaids, fairies, Native Americans, and pirates. Of course, the island of Neverland must be located somewhere close to hell because the creatures there are obviously from hell. Okay, but they're never going to tell you that. So later on, Barrie wrote the stage play of Peter Pan, and the first production opened at the Duke of York's Theatre in London on 27 December 1904. Barrie wrote the novelization of this play in 1911, published under the title Peter and Wendy. So basically, Peter and Wendy was just the novel version of the stage play Peter Pan. And so Peter's way of telling Wendy the way to the Neverland is second to the right and straight on till morning. That's where this quote came from. This is where we got the opening shot for this entire predictive programming series. J.M. Barrie, the Scottish writer who wrote the stage play Peter Pan, he had actually gifted the copyright earnings of Peter Pan to this great Ormond Street Hospital, which is one of the biggest children's hospitals in the world. And the drama that we're about to watch, which is used for this predictive programming for COVID-19, is basically set in, say, Great Ormond Street Hospital. So the two major people who are featured in this drama are the National Health Service guys, nurses or health workers, and the children at the Great Ormond Street Hospital. And so Peter Pan being something that has become a part of that hospital, because every copyright money made from there, it goes to the hospital in perpetuity till today. So they have adopted Peter Pan, the mythical character. They've adopted it as their own. So they had to start with stuff that are written inside this. That's what made them to begin with that, straight until morning quote that begins the whole process. And so let's go down now. In the clip right here, you can see the movement to create an image that resembles the logo of Gosh. But notice their movement isn't only on the characters, but other light effects making it look like the movement of viruses or bacteria or something. But wait, here we see nurses pushing into the arena several hospital beds with children on them. These children cover their heads with some fictional book supposed to be titled Isles of Wonder. These kids are representative of the children from the Great Ormond Street Hospital. Gosh. But as you will see soon, they actually represent the children of the world. In this clip, you see evidently how the hospital beds have been arranged to form the acronym for Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is GOSH, and the logo of the hospital as well. And of course, the brilliantly lit complete Illuminati pyramids can be seen towering above and all around the arena. But there's something else that's outlined from this aerial view. Can you see it? The corona symbol again. The coronavirus symbol right there. Clearer than before, right? Okay, we proceed. Here we see a beautiful black girl reading from the book Isles of Wonder. We also see a nurse playing the role of a nanny to the white kid. Talk about nanny state. She reads something to her from the Isles of Wonder. Isles of Wonder happens to be the title of the opening ceremony of the 27th July 2012 London Olympics. So stage is set and the dance begins. Nurses, health workers dance. Kids dance and bounce up and down on their hospital beds turned trampolines. Nurses dance with the kids. 5G tower glows in the background. Numerous hospital beds turn red. Nurses and health workers dance away. Here we see a creepy blood-stained NHS symbol. Take a very good look at the S, the letter S. It stands right next to a 5G tower. Notice that as the tower emits radiation, the S becomes more reddened from exposure to radiation, then followed by H, which is next to S. S eventually turns white. Dancing continues.
If a sick person is denied medical aid because of lack of means.
The NHS appears again all white, and suddenly both N and H and S are red, and S begins to disintegrate and disperse. Dancing continues and gets wider as the Illuminati Pyramid Tower above. The National Health Service, NHS, was founded in 1948, the year of the last London Olympics, prior to 2012. And it has become the 5th largest employer of labor in the world with 1.7 million staff. Suddenly, there are now more beds in red due to exposure to radiation, and they're all close to the 5G tower. Other beds continue to turn red, but the dancing continues still. Now it appears there's an emergency. Nurses move briskly, pushing sick beds to and fro within the radiation radius of the 5G tower, almost in a confused fashion. Nurses, health workers run around as more and more are exposed to the red colors of radiation. So distractive dancing of the health workers and nurses continue for a while, then stops. Suddenly, darkness falls and the red beds and white beds are mostly submerged in the encroaching darkness. So we see the nurses or NHS health workers covering the kids and sending them to sleep. Then something really disturbing happens. The health workers perform an Illuminati occult ritual of placing a finger over their lips to signify they are sworn to secrecy, not to ever reveal or say anything regarding what's about to unfold. The ritual where you place a finger over your lip, it shows that you have sworn an oath of secrecy, never to reveal anything. Don't say what you see. Shut up. It's a ritual in Illuminati. And you see stars do this. A lot of stars, and I can show you that. They do this. They have taken an oath. As soon as you sell your soul, you take an oath. You cannot say what you see. So you keep sealed lips all the time.
This is said to symbolise the celebrities' powerlessness. They've been sworn to secrecy. Their lips are sealed.
I want to show you how many times this ritual was performed simultaneously. Let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then sleep. Okay, so they wave their hand like that, and what it means is that they're telling you to go to bed and sleep. Then look at this one right here. The full aerial view revealing the coronavirus shape even better this time. It stays on the screen longer than any other frame in the whole show, just so that it registers prominently in your subconscious. And right after that bold statement, the ritual continues for the 8th time. For the 9th time, and then the wave to sleep and stay asleep. And here again, your coronavirus symbol, all in your face. The nurses and health workers, after putting the children to sleep, knowing that they are part of the plan of what is about to unfold, you know what they did? They played that ritual. And I counted at least 9 times that they performed that ritual in front of the whole world. That look, nobody should talk. Nobody should talk. Keep quiet. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. The oath of secrecy. As the drama unfolds, do not say what you know. Do not say what you see. Never. Then the nurses and health workers go into hiding, giving way for the evil plan to unfold in full force. It begins with a recitation from J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan by J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Remember what I told you about Great Ormond Street Hospital, Gosh. Gosh is Peter Pan and Peter Pan is Gosh, right? Under the sound of her voice, the virus invades. But the virus appears fake. And as soon as it breaks, we see China where? We see China. That lady signifies China. Well, what part of China is this? Look at the background. That's animal cage with no animals inside. Compare that with these from Wuhan. Do you get it now? It's Wuhan Animal or Wet Market. But watch closely, you'll see that the whole Wuhan Animal Market is being pushed by a bunch of jesters under the magician's spell. This is the media pushing the animal market narrative, which is basically empty from these videos. But it's a giant hoax, so they get everyone's attention while the real drama unfolds. Watch as the health workers uphold their oath of silence, moping away.